My name is Daniel Morris. I'm not telling this story to be believed, only to be remembered. 5 years ago, I led an expedition into the Egyptian desert, and we awakened something that was never meant to breathe again. It began with a private grant, an anonymous patron who contacted my university with one instruction: dig beneath the forgotten sands of Abydos, where no map dares to draw lines. The coordinates led us far beyond any recognized excavation zone. No internet, no signal. Even local villagers wouldn't guide us. They warned of the hollow place, where camels refused to walk and birds never circled. We were 6. Myself, 2 senior professors, 2 grad students, and a hired local named Yusuf. Yusuf changed the moment we arrived. He stood at the edge of the site, pale and shaking. He muttered something in Arabic I didn't understand. Later, I learned it meant, "The breathless god sleeps here." That night, our compasses failed. Our camp lanterns dimmed without warning. There were no sounds, no wind, no insects, just an awful silence, the kind that screams in your ears. On the second day, we uncovered the tomb entrance, a triangular stone hatch buried under blackened sand. Around it were faces carved into the stone, twisted in terror, mouths agape, like they had died screaming. Each one unique, each one realistic, too realistic. The seal bore no pharaoh's name, only a phrase written in ancient script: "Let the silence hold. Let the hollow king remain nameless, for his breath is famine, and his voice is death." We laughed nervously. A mythological inscription. Nothing more. We broke the seal. The tunnel descended deeper than any burial we'd studied. The air was wet, impossibly wet for the desert. The walls pulsed with moisture. And then the whispers began. Just faint, like 1,000 people mumbling behind the stone. Yusuf begged us to stop. He said if we reached the inner chamber, we wouldn't leave as ourselves. But ambition is louder than fear. At the end of the passage, we found it, a chamber not carved but grown. The walls looked organic, veined, as though the tomb was alive. In its center lay the sarcophagus, taller than any man, forged from black obsidian, wrapped in rusted chains sealed with melted gold. The lid had no hieroglyphs, only a symbol, a spiral made of interlocking teeth, and below it a phrase: "He who drinks the breath of men, he who was never born and never died." Inside lay the mummy. It wasn't desiccated, it was swollen. The bandages were wet and red like soaked gauze. Its skin was intact, pulsing. Its eyes were open, not shriveled, but alive, watching us. Dr. Monroe leaned closer to inspect it. He reached out, and the mummy twitched. Then the lights went out. In the pitch black we heard breathing. Not one breath, hundreds. Fast, slow, wet, dry. Overlapping like a choir of lungs choking on air. The lights flickered back. The sarcophagus was empty. Panic broke. We scrambled toward the tunnel, but it had changed. The path was longer. The walls, now lined with hands, stone arms reaching out of the surface as if buried alive and still struggling. We made it out, or thought we did. That night I heard footsteps circling my tent. When I unzipped the flap, no one was there, but there were footprints, inward toward me, and next to my bedroll, a single golden thread. The next morning, one of the grad students, Sarah, was missing. We found her an hour later, sitting perfectly upright in the sand, smiling. Her lungs were gone. No incision, no blood, just emptiness. Yusuf began chanting prayers. He refused to speak English, covering his ears every time we tried to discuss the tomb. He told me through a translator, "The Hollow King is not a man. He is a void that wore a crown. He was once worshipped by mad priests who fed him with sacrifice, not of blood, but of air. They called him Neb-Amen-Shenu, the Breathless One." We had disturbed something older than dynasties. That night, Dr. Monroe began speaking in ancient Egyptian in his sleep, full sentences, chanting. His tongue blackened. His mouth oozed sand. He woke up screaming, clawing at his throat. He died at sunrise. His face was frozen in terror, eyes open, mouth stretched, as if his last moments were spent gasping. The others wanted to flee, but the desert had changed. Our maps were nonsense. The sun no longer moved. Stars didn't match the sky. Our watches stopped ticking. It was like the land itself was looping, trapping us in the Hollow King's breath. Then, the dreams came. I saw the mummy, walking, not like a corpse, but like a king returning home. Behind him trailed his victims, faceless shadows, gasping endlessly, lungs heaving in silence. Each morning, more sand appeared in our mouths. Yusuf hung himself, but not with a rope, with bandages, bloodied ancient bandages we had buried. On the 6th night, I awoke underground, inside the tomb, with no memory of how I got there. The sarcophagus was open. The Hollow King was sitting against the wall, watching, not moving, breathing. I didn't scream. I couldn't. The air was thick, like trying to inhale through wet cloth. He didn't speak, but I heard his voice, inside my lungs. He said, "You opened the gate. Now you will carry it." I woke up in the sand, coughing up black dust. The others were dead, their mouths packed with teeth, not their own. Human teeth, thousands. I sealed the tomb again. I burned the journals. I buried the tools. But the breathing never stopped. I hear it still. In hotel rooms, on planes, in crowds. Sometimes soft, sometimes right beside me. I dream of lungs collapsing, of people gasping, of whispers crawling into my ears. And every morning, I find more sand on my pillow. Last night, my shadow lagged behind me. And today, I notice something moving beneath my skin, like a breath trapped where it shouldn't be. If you're hearing this, don't search for the tomb. Forget the name Neb-Amun-Shanu. Forget the Hollow King, because he is not dead. He is only waiting to breathe again.